Those guys are allowing the show to hit the road this weekend. They're taking us to Minneapolis, where we will be broadcasting live after the game on Monday. Looking forward to that. We'll give some deets on our Monday show. For those of you that are out there, you can hit me up at Grant H. Paulsen. We'll try to get together with listeners somewhere as we are out and about. But right now, let's go to the Ruud Guest Hotline. Ruud, the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV. And welcome onto the show, Logan Paulsen, my buddy who I host Take Command with, a Commanders podcast. Hopefully you all have subscribed and rated and reviewed and done all those podcasty things with. Logan, appreciate you hopping on with me and Danny here. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Now that I'm talking to you guys, you fine gentlemen. So how are things going with you guys, all right?
We're great, dude.
Oh, we're handsome. Danny's wearing a suit. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, it's a big day. Logan, real quick, Thanksgiving, did you allow yourself to have a single unit of carbohydrates?
Everyone gets on this carbohydrate kick, man. Carbohydrates are good for you. I just regulate the amount of carbohydrate that I eat. Does that make sense?
By not eating them?
I'm not doing the Grant Paulsen, bathtub of mashed potatoes joint. You know what I mean? It's more like, hey, here's a nice portion, nice spoonful of mashed potatoes.
I advocated for him to do a football helmet full of mac and cheese and a bathtub full of mashed potatoes.
Yes.
He didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's his problem.
Look at me. I'm in shape.
And make sure you have 4 dinner rolls. I said 4 dinner rolls. Logan, Jayden Daniels is back. He is going to be playing, starting against this Vikings defense. Your reaction to that?
I mean, I'm excited. I mean, this is the guy that's supposed to, be the savior of the franchise, and I want to see him on the field sooner rather than later. And again, I trust the medical staff. I trust Dan Quinn. I trust the people involved with the decision-making process. So if he's ready to go, I want to see him on the field. I think I am a little bit concerned about how he's going to handle this Minnesota defense on Take Command. We talked about how much they pressure, how exotic they pressure. And that makes me a little bit concerned because I think there's going to be a lot of exposure here to, unblocked rushers, all those types of things. But, man, I can't wait to see Jayden Daniels back on the field with Terry McLaurin and this offensive line that seems to be finding its stride at the right time of the year.
What challenges does that defense bring? Brian Flores loves blitzing so much. He loves it as much as I love carbohydrates, Logie.
I mean, he actually might like it more, man. I mean, he is absolutely diabolical. I think, we talked about it on the Take Command podcast. He's blitzing since their bye week at a 58% rate, which is crazy. There are teams where you watch them, you say, oh, man, this team is blitzing a lot. This team is seemingly blitzing almost every single play. They're blitzing on first down. They're blitzing on second down. They're blitzing on third down. And the stuff they're bringing on first down isn't like your normal conventional, hey, we're going to bring the Sam, we're going to bring the Will, we're going to bring the Mike. It's like, hey, here's a cross dog with a nickel pressure, and we're going to zone drop Van Ginkel out under a slant window. And you're like, where the heck did that come from? It's just novel patterns from a blitz perspective, novel coverage philosophy. They play a lot of light man match. So what I mean by that is they'll play a match coverage with 6 players as opposed to a traditional 7 in the back end. And it presents a lot of unconventional looks, and the amount of pressure and kind of disruption they're able to create on early downs and on third down is really kind of, they're one of one in terms of what they're able to do there.
So what's the counter if you're Jayden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury knowing that's coming?
Well, I think all the prep for something like this has to come on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And what I mean by that is if we can identify tells, positions, different variables that kind of tip their hand, and we can get our protections targeted, we can get our runs targeted, you can gash them. I mean, that's the one negative thing about bringing all this pressure is you are unsound for a portion of the blitz, right? So while, that 3 technique is looping to a 5 technique, if that combination on outside zone is really, really good, you can kind of build a wall there very quickly. And so anything you can find there to maximize the offensive line specifically, maximize the backs, anybody involved in the pass protection surface, I think is going to help you kind of take that next step with the offense this week.
Our guy Logan Paulsen with us here on G&D. Logan, I just want to hear your voice on this as a knowledgeable football gentleman. The debate du jour, kind of among smart football folks that I respect and like a lot, is now the trend of everybody being under center all the time. Last year, 2 teams that weren't under center that much met in the Super Bowl. This year, it's under center or bust pretty much, right? Where there's a huge correlation with that, and the best offense is performing at the highest level. What are the trade-offs for being in shotgun as often as Washington is? There are some benefits, yes? I'd love for you just to give folks some light on that. What's good and what's bad about it?
So, yeah, I think a couple of the benefits are, like, you can get in more zone read looks, where you got the back running away, you're reading the backside end. You could run GT bash from the gun where you're pulling the backside guard, backside tackle, you're reading the backside end for I, whoever that player is. You can run more zone read from the gun. Like some of these kind of more quote unquote, like college innovations, high school innovations that are sweeping the NFL at the moment, they are better from the gun, right? So I think like that's really where the advantage comes from. And again, like being from the gun is kind of a nebulous term. I consider the gun when the quarterback's behind the center, 5 yards away, and the back's offset right to left. I think that there are some advantages and wrinkles you can get to from the pistol, where the quarterback's at like 4.5 and the back's at 7, that help mitigate some of those kind of tendencies that you get from gun runs specifically. But I do think it gives you flexibility. It just depends on how you manage the flexibility and how you kind of and how you handle the limitations of the backfield set. I think if you look at the Miami Dolphins, that's a great example of a team that runs what I would consider like quote unquote under center play action stuff, but from the gun, just because of how they manage backfield action. So I think you can get around a lot of the limitations of it, but I do think there are some benefits that are often overlooked in these kind of under center gun conversations.
Logan Paulsen, who you can listen to on Take Command, 3 episodes a week, wherever you get your audio. All right, Logan, I'm curious about the health of this offense and what it's going to mean. I mean, this is going to be the first time this collection of players has been on the field together all season. Daniels is going to have Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Deebo Samuel, Jalen Lane, kind of the guys from the first day of training camp if Terry was there. The only player really missing is Austin Eckler in the backfield, and McNichols in that role has been terrific anyway. But you've got your backs, you've got your tight ends, you've got the offensive line that they want, which is really ascending. I mean, this was part of my argument that I thought all the talk about not bringing him back was so ridiculous for. Like, this is the group. I mean, isn't this going to be telling now against a good defense coming up?
I mean, I would assume so. I mean, like all of the limitations we've talked about this year, they don't have the playmakers on the perimeter. The offensive line hasn't gelled yet. Those are really valid criticisms of where this team was at and really valid observations of what was going on. But like you said, now that's no longer an excuse. Let's see what this offense looks like. Can you kind of replicate all of the explosive dynamism that we saw last year throughout? The efficiency running the football, the efficiency in pass protection, keeping the quarterback clean, letting him hit some of these throws down the field for these really explosive plays. Like they were 3rd in the NFL last year in explosive plays over 50 yards. Like, can we get some of that, so those teeth back? And I think, yes, the personnel would indicate yes. And so now, again, this is a tough challenge versus Minnesota, like we just talked about, all the nuance and variety that they bring from a pressure standpoint. But you want to be a playoff caliber team. Like, this is supposed to be your playoff caliber offense. Let's see how this sucker looks with one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL at the helm. And let's see if we can make some of these plays that we saw last year.
How do we keep Jayden Daniels as healthy as possible? It's football. I understand hits will be made. That the Dallas game is my kind of case to this, Logan, where he's in the pocket, something freaky happens, and he gets hurt. Quarterbacks get hurt, football players get hurt, et cetera. But process-wise, what can be done to try to ensure his health and safety?
Yeah, I think when you look at – I'm going to give Cliff a shout-out here because I think he's done a really good job since Marcus has taken over, specifically the last 2 weeks, of calling a game that is more, I'm going to say, offensive line friendly and then therefore quarterback friendly, and how it keeps him safe and keeps him protected. Like, we've been in a little bit more heavy personnel. We've been in tighter formations. We've been in looks in terms of running the football that, again, kind of married to some of our play action pass stuff. And I think like those things are really advantageous because anything you can do to make the offensive line more efficient, let them feel more comfortable, I think leads to an environment where the quarterback is going to be more comfortable and going to be safer, right? Because the defense can't just tee off. One of the criticisms of being in the gun all the time is that it's a pretty big tell for the defense, right? There's been more variety formationally. There's been more variety in terms of the personnels on the field as well the last couple of weeks. I think that stuff is going to be really, really helpful because it's going to decrease the amount of pressure that Jayden Daniels sees. And so when you look at the games where he's been disrupted or uncomfortable, like the Green Bay game is a great example. The Dallas game is a great example. We don't get the best version of him. But when you look at the Bears game, when you look at the Chargers game, when you look at the Giants game from earlier in the season, you see a guy who's dynamic and explosive and efficient as a playmaker. And I think it comes down really to the protection. I think Cliff over the last couple of weeks has shown a propensity to improve in that area, and the offense has improved in that area.
Logan Paulsen on G&D. Flip side, let's talk about the defense. 2 games now with Dan Quinn calling plays. They've been way, way better. Some of that might be that you're facing quarterbacks that are missing some things, but they've also just played better football on that side of the ball pretty obviously too. And you get a quarterback that should miss a lot of things this weekend, hopefully, in J.J. McCarthy, who has been a mess for the Vikings. What do you see when you watch him, and what do you make of Quinn as a play caller so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tackle the first one there first. I think, there are some things that JJ does that I think are good. I think he kind of generally understands like where the ball should go, generally understands the protection rules, generally understands like when he's hot or not. I think the thing that sticks out to me like as a glaring issue is that he's the throwing nuance that you see from a lot of the top flight quarterbacks just isn't there. And like he's throwing a rope, low trajectory laser beam pretty much for every throw. So it's like he's got the one golf club and he's going to hit the crap out of that golf club no matter what. And that's not always the right decision when he's playing in the football game. And I think it leads to drops. I think it leads to incompletions. I think it leads to kind of mistimed opportunities just in general. So I think you're seeing that in terms of his completion percentage. It's 54%. That's not very good, obviously. So I think that's what you're seeing. So when it comes to playing defense versus him, I think it's like understanding what Dan's done the last couple of weeks, zone, keep everything in front of you, and rely on the quarterback to make a mistake. I think that's going to come to the forefront here in a nice way because of his inefficiencies as a player. Now, what I've seen from Dan, I think Dan's done a really nice job of just maximizing the personnel that he's got. He understands the limitations of the group, of the pass rushers, of the coverage guys, and we've shifted our philosophy. And in this philosophy shift, it leaves you open to some of the underneath check down stuff and these long drives like we saw versus Denver. But he's also kind of relying on the fact that most quarterbacks can't do that. And so, Tua Tagovailoa, Bo Nix, they struggled in that regard mightily. And so I think that's what you're seeing here is a guy that understands, a coach in Dan Quinn who understands the defensive limitations and just try to maximize the personnel the best way that he can.
Logan, I want to tap into your playing days. You played for good teams, teams that came in second a lot and kind of everything in between. What's it like in a typical locker room right now if the season hasn't gone according to plan? Like, you're way under 500. And it seems like this one might be a little bit different than that. I know the results haven't been there, but they seem pretty together to me. And that's based on brief little snippets on HBO or the occasional thing they release, but it seems like a good group still. What's it normally like, and what do you think this group is like?
Yeah, I mean, this can be pretty dark this time of year. What are they, 3-9 at the moment? Like, that's a tough environment to be in. Like, I've been a part of the 3-13 season in 2013, and that thing was on fire. Like everyone kind of knew people were going to get fired. It was a bad deal. Everyone's just trying to play to make sure that they got an opportunity next year. When I was at the Bears, I think they were 3-13 as well. That was a really tough thing. Maybe they were 2-14. I don't remember exactly, but those are tough locker rooms to be in. And so to see kind of the togetherness, the fellowship, the brotherhood, the continued work ethic that you see. I mean, because and everyone says, well, how do you know that, Logan? I just look at the last 2 games and look at how drastically different the defensive performance has been, how the offenses continue to improve. You don't see that in locker rooms that are really, really struggling. So I think this is a credit and a testament to Dan Quinn, the defense and offensive staffs for being able to keep guys on track. I just hope that they're able to get rewarded here in the next couple of weeks with a couple wins and kind of show that, hey, this process of brotherhood, family, togetherness that we've been preaching is the right way to go about it. And again, because that would make everything a whole lot better coming out at the end of the season.
Logan, I'm a big fan of your work, big fan of the hit podcast that you're on, Take Command as well. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, boys.